Hey kids, what is going on? Happy Friday Night Flicks. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you can. If not, somebody will tell me. So it's going to be a pretty cool night. We're going to get some good education coming in here. I won't spoil that surprise, but I'm stoked about it. And yeah, it's going to be a good night. I'm looking forward to it. And then we've got said faction, I think at Maddie's channel at 11:15. Um, B Shady's in the house. What is up, B Shady? Channel member. And Marco is in the house, also a channel member. What is up, brother? We got Angelo in the house. What is going on, Angelo? Balrog was in the house earlier. Maybe he's in the house. Channel member. Welcome, brother. We've got Addicted to Blades too. Good to see you, man. Hopefully some people will show up. I know there are other lives going on. And that's cool. Angelo, what is up? Good to see you. We got Baba Ninja Timmy in the house from right up the road. Good to see you, Tim. We've got Homer Felites, a channel member. Good to see you, Homer. We've got Joe Isabella, the man, the myth, and the legend. Part of his stuff is on the table and is going to be included in tonight's giveaway, just so you know. Good to see you, Joe. Thank you, buddy. I saw that you were working in the shop, making beautiful stuff. And I'll show you guys that stuff here in a second. Stephen Clayton Jr., what is up? Good to see you, buddy. We got Burnt Relic in the house. The man, the myth, the legend. I saw in the chat earlier he's still trying to find out North's favorite animal. Maybe we'll ask Stevie if he jumps in here in a little while, or Maddie. I think they were talking about a lamb, but I don't know if he's going to check that. B Shady, what's up, brother? Channel member. I don't know if I said hey to you, but I have a short-term memory. If I did, hello again. If I didn't, good to see you, buddy. Glad you're here. Edgy, I saw that you were exhausted. I would have typed on my iPad, but it wouldn't let me log in because I was streaming you sideways. So good to see you, buddy. I hope you get a good night rest. And I'm stoked to talk to you, buddy. Show you what's up my sleeve. Nobody listens to Eric. What is going on, brother? Welcome to Friday Night Flicks, where we hang out. We try to keep it between the lines. Trying to get it to be more informative. We'll see what happens. We're always striving to get better. 2024, that was kind of our breakout. Now we're going to try to get more polished and get better content and better lives, so you guys feel like you want to be here. My brother Paul Mills, channel member. I look like an FSD if I'm not mistaken, I can't tell because my eyes are bad. Good to see you, Paul. I hope you're having a good day, buddy. Demonoc, what is up, buddy? Channel member, good to see you, Demonoc. And we've got Richard in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Richard Hopkins is in the house. Who else we got? Let's see. Get all the highs. I'm trying to get caught up down to the bottom. Ouchie EDC, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. I love seeing names that I see over at the Honey Bucket, that I see. We all kind of gravitate towards the same lives. And I don't get to go to as many lives as I used to because I'm one of those last minute content guys. I'm in a unique position right now where I've actually got a few days staged out, and I've actually got some stuff. Brother Ed Harrison sent me a knife that I unboxed today that I'd never experienced before. And this is a Mora Companion. This is one of the ones in the tool steel. And again, I've seen them. It always looked, like a basic kind of bitch ugly knife. But the grip on this and the way it cuts, it's super, super slicey. And this thing's right under $16. Again, for a tackle box, they would make them in stainless too. And they make much more expensive ones if you want a wood handle. But when I got it, when he sent it to me, I went to their website, kind of read about them. They've been in Sweden, I think for over 100 years, and been making knives. So that's kind of cool. And then brother Lee Wolf and I traded a knife, and he sent me some stuff to check out and to some knives that I normally wouldn't get a chance to review. This reminds me except mine was a little smaller, and I still got it. A case that I carried as a kid when I dove hunted, but this is a Browning um, model 814, whatever that is. But again, a leather stacked handle, inexpensive hollow ground knife that both of these are available on Amazon. Really cool. And then he sent me this, which I'd been wanting to check out for a very long time. This is a collaboration between Kaiser and Maverick Customs. This is the Harpoon. It's been around for a while. I've never experienced it since I got into my fixed blade fetish, but I can tell you it is super slicey. D2, right now, these are on sale. On Kaiser's side, I don't want to say they're like 43, $46, something like that. It's a little bit larger. I'm going to guess this is about 7.5 inches. I've kind of found my sweet spot to be between 6.5 and 7 inches, but this feels really good. And what they did different on this one, I don't know how crazy I am about it, is they set it up with horizontal straps, which is great, but they didn't give you extra rivets in case you wanted to go in and, carry it in your pocket. So I think they missed a mark there. Plus the sheath's pretty basic, but it works, it retains well. But it was an interesting find. Basic D2 blade. The other one that I'm getting ready to review, that is Nitro V, is this little chunky guy. The hair, Richard, I am been carrying. I'm a huge fan of it. I think you're really going to like the jimps and the way that the spine is done. I have not tried the smolt, but it looks really cool. This little guy, the hair, is again for Nitro V, and it's an Azo design. And for a small fixed blade, it's got a chunky G10 grip that feels really good. It's got a thicker crown spine with jimping here and jimping up here. Very sharp. Great sheath. It didn't come. Rody, what's up? Let me get that. What is up? It did not come with this clip. This is an Ulti clip. It actually came with one of these guys. Neil McKenzie is in the house. Been a member for 18 months. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate you, buddy. But they come, most of the imported fixed blades I get come with these tech locks that are, high quality, not locks, clips, but they're made to go onto your belt. And I don't carry knives externally that much unless I've got a leather sheath and I don't have a choice. But I'll always take these off. So if any of y'all are looking for a tech lock like this, I've probably got 20 of them, and I'm happy to send them out. Said Stevie, the man, the myth, the legend. Good to see you, brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Random question, said Stevie, and I know we thought it might be a lamb. Do we know if Nora has a favorite animal? Burnt Relic was asking when he got in the chat earlier. And it's not something you have to answer now. We can talk about it down the road. No, I pocket carry them. So right now in my back pocket, I'm carrying this little knife. This is a Boker Arlo BFF, a little small AEBL knife, a little basic cutting knife. But the way I carry my fixed blades, 99. Stevie, no rush, buddy. The way I carry my fixed blades are in my pocket typically. And if I'm carrying a larger fixed blade, like an axial on a weekend, I might not even carry a folder. So I might carry it in my right pocket, but I do like to carry my fixed blades inside my pocket. Now, if I'm out hiking or if I'm camping, I'll have my red line or my LT right or something on my belt, but I'll probably still have one in my pocket. Mirsal, what is up? Yeah, Kyle's favorite animal is a gerbil. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Awesome, Stevie. Kyle Coonley is going to give us some knowledge tonight. He's going to help us get on the right track to stropping knives properly and talk about some things that one thing I learned today. So yeah, it's going to be come back and check it out, buddy. You know what I find, Richard, I, when got into the hobby about 3 years ago, I had probably at least 60 Kaisers and 60 Civivis because those were the knives I was collecting. And over time, Civivi's price kind of kept creeping up, not night and day, but if you look at a comparable Kaiser fixed blade or folder and a comparable Civivi, in my opinion, the Civivis carry a little bit higher price point. It used to not be that way. Crispy Critter, member for 17 months. Holy smoke. Crispy, thank you, buddy. You are the man, dude. All you guys are. Members, non-members, just people who come and hang out with me. I appreciate it. You guys make it fun. And like I said, my goal is to up my game and get you guys a more structured kind of experience. You know, Tuesday nights will be a certain way, which will just kind of be me chatting, answering questions, rambling, doing whatever. And then Fridays, I'll try to come up with kind of a schedule, you know, where there's something to look forward to or something to get information from. Still hang out, still be nuts. It'll still be off the rails at some point because that's just the way it rolls. But yeah, I'm really excited because I've used the strop even before I was sharpening knives, and I always thought I was doing it right. And I've learned some things just in my conversations with Kyle. So I'm glad that he's going to come by and kind of do a little demonstrating, do a little kind of mini presentation on how the overall process works, which it seems real simple. I thought it was, but I really think in hindsight that I might be taking edge off my knives or you know, I might not be doing them justice stropping them with what I'm using to strop with, I guess I should say more accurately. So that'll be coming up. And then at some point, we're going to do a giveaway, which is going to consist of this 14C28N mossy oak, super sharp, super slicey EDC fixed blade. It's about 7.5 inches, and it's got one of those clips. And then Joe Isabella has donated some stuff that's going to go in giveaways for the next few weeks. Mersal. They start at about 8 o'clock, and they roll through to about 11:15. So this is one piece that's going to be included, and my camera doesn't do it justice. This little paperweight, which is very cool. And this awesome little piece of pocket jank. And of course, some stickers and maybe one other surprise Joe Isabella piece. So that will be happening. So we've got that going on at some point, and we'll decide if y'all want to do the numbers game or if we just want to let StreamYard pick it. That'll be up to you guys. And then, you know, who knows what else will happen. I have really been digging this knife, and I want to show y'all a knife that just came in today that I'm thinking about trying out. But this is my latest fixed blade that I bought, really one of the only knives I bought in a while, and it is a Viper Mirror 2. I did a review because they make a Mirror 1 that's shaped like this that has a swedge up here and the blades down here. It's super funky. And I actually reviewed them both and sent the other one back because I knew I was going to buy one of them. Because what would happen with me is I would take it out of my sheath and forget the way that it was flipped upside down, which is crazy. And I'd cut my finger. But this knife is really thin. It's a great EDC slicer. I mean, it's not a hard use knife, but it comes with a little, it's a little Italian made M390. I know. I think they've gotten a little better, but it's got a good little pocket dropper sheath. Again, like my other knives, I just drop that in my back pocket like a wallet and let that flap come over the outside of my jeans. So this is all that's on the outside, and it works really well. Um, Leather's where it's at, greater than cardboard, and definitely better than Kydex when you're going to keep it in your pocket. Kydex has got its place, and I love Kydex. I'd say I have 80% Kydex, 20% leather. But leather is, for a pocket dropper, I think it's great. I love the leather little dropper that I've got from Joe, and I've got a couple from Oak City Leatherworks. Just small, understated pocket dropper type of sheaths. What's up, Ed? Channel member, good to see you, brother. I knew it slipped in here when I wasn't paying attention. I'm going to show y'all real quick and get your opinion on this knife that just showed up at White Mountain Knives, but it's a brand I've never heard of. However, it is made in Italy, and it looks just like the Viper style knife that I've got here. So they've got two blade shapes. Tell me what you kids think about these knives. I'm thinking about buying one. So they've got two shapes. It's called a straight line Ally. This is the Ally, which is the Warncliffe blade. So it's got that blade, little M390, small cutter. It's 5.98 inches, so right about 6 inches. The one I think I like better is called the Ernie. Same maker, which again, this is all probably coming from Montiago, because this looks, from the micarta to the contouring on the micarta to the thinness, it looks just like my Viper knives. But what are your guys' thoughts on those little knives? 6 inch, that's going to be, let's see, do I have a 6 incher out here? 6 inches is an inch bigger than my chickadee. It's going to be about that long. So a little guy. It does. Now, the Warncliffe, to go back to I'm such an idiot. Sorry about that, guys. I went to push share, and instead I pushed leave. I jettisoned myself. So the Warncliffe, I'll show you this denim, my card. I kind of like it. But the Warncliffe looks, the Alley, I guess, like this. Your screen. And I like the sheath. Again, because it's square, it's a pocket dropper. But that's their other style. I figure it's $185. What's 10%, 18 off. So it's not cheap by any means. It's $185 less 10% if you use a creator's code, mine or somebody else's. And it's about a little 6 inch guy. It looks slicey, but I can't really tell. I've got an email out to Austin at White Mountain Knives. But yeah, they also, the reason I saw this is I was trying to show Kyle Coonley today a little fixed blade that came in from Tucson, and I don't see it anymore. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick, because it looked like a Joey Roman dagger. These Remiettes are so dang expensive. I don't get it. I know it doesn't have hardware and it's allegedly a really nice knife. They've got Malibus in stock. I'm not going to look for long. They've got these Riots. You know, Riot came out with that more economical odd knife about 3 months ago. They've got another, I guess you'd call it for Riot, a budget knife. But this little Tucson is a dagger, and it's very economical, as Tucsons tend to be. But I couldn't find it today. And I'm not going to look for it long. I'm going to give it 2 more pages. But let's see. Tucson. I have not been on knife websites as much as I used to be. So it's kind of I forget exactly where I saw it. I know what store, but I don't remember. It wasn't this guy. This is a little mini me. This is just a little plunge dagger. Yeah, Rhodey, I accidentally jettisoned myself. Pretty cool knife right here. A bigger knife. This is a M390 kind of Nessmuck style. 7 inches. I say bigger, not much bigger, but it looks pretty good. I've been very pleased with every Tucson fixed blade I've purchased, and I've purchased a bunch of them. All right, if I don't see it on the next page, I'll look one more. Why would they? Usually it just shows sold out. That's why I'm confused that I'm not able to see it, even if it's sold. But it looks, damn it. I shouldn't be struggling with this, but I've gone into hyper focus mode because I know the freaking thing's there, and I would like to show it to y'all because it is kind of cool. So there's the hair that I was just showing you in green. That's one for $47.95. There's the harpoon, but that's the mini. How big is the mini in 3V? 6.49 inches. That's interesting because I like the full size, but there's that mirror 2. There's the mirror 1s that I was telling you all about. So these things, this Igor Erstoli, or so whoever designed this knife, did a thumb choil. So this is the edge. This is the swedge. And I know with my muscle memory that it'd just be a matter of time before I held it the normal way and sliced my thumb open. This is a knife I reviewed off of Amazon. I picked up one of these at Amazon. It's kind of gimmicky because it has a whistle. It has a bit driver. Got a ferro rod striker, but it's VG10. It was a sharp little knife. G10 handles, real small. I think Amazon had it about the same price. And then this, I don't get why that's $325 in a fixed blade from Pyrotech. I do not get it. But it is what it is. Anyway, I'm not seeing the Tucson, and I feel like I've abandoned y'all since I'm not looking at the chat. Yeah, the reverse Tanto is the one I like better too, Richard. There's a Mora. Carbon steel, kind of like the one I just showed you, $14.99. All right. I feel like I'm getting close. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. That looks like it, though. That looks like it, but that's not it. All right. I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up on the little fixed blade, even though it's driving me crazy. It was very economical, too. That's why I was going to show it to you guys. But anyway, I'm not seeing it. Who knows what's going on? Anyway, that was a huge fail. Sorry about that, guys. A Stiffy P. Be Shady, I do not have a Stiffy P. What is a Stiffy P? Let's pull it up. Ooh. No, that's the pulsar. That's a knife that had I had the cash when they dropped, I would have bought one of these in a heartbeat because I love my pulsar, except for the fact that it's got that real light axis lock. And I did too, Angela, when I first saw it. But I think this is a great size. I like the fact that it's Vandus. I've got one knife in Vandus tool steel. My why can't I get a good picture of it? My Ace Grand St. Nick's exclusive is in Vandus. And this knife looks very good. I don't know why they're not showing a full picture of it, or if I'm just at the wrong place. But yes, I have seen it. I don't have one, but I'm very much a fan because if I'm not mistaken, with the exception of the handle profile, this is the same pretty much blade that you're working with. Angelo, when I first saw it, I thought it was upside down. It didn't make any sense to me. And then I went to their site and read about this Igor Bertowski or whatever. And when you put your thumb in it, hey, Paul Mike, you can tell that it would be functional. However, the blade is right. I mean, yes, your thumb would keep your hand from sliding up on the blade, but it made me nervous just because it was so backwards from anything that I've learned or been taught about where you put your fingers. And if I'm pulling it out, not paying attention to it, you know, I could just see myself getting a really nasty thumb cut, and nobody's got time for that. But yeah, the Stiffy looks very, very nice. I didn't watch his video, but I saw that Tri-State, yeah, there it is. In its full size ness. Big fan. Now that one looks like it ships with 2 clips. Pretty cool. Vandus 8, yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I like the look of it. I wonder if anybody's got it in stock. No, but Kunwu's doing some really cool stuff in the and I know Kyle's probably cussing me because I know he's not a huge fan. But there's metal complexes. Where was it? The Primo kind of doesn't really do it for me. I've got a lot of knives in that profile, but I think it's the Gringo. I think it's called the Gringo. Yeah, there's a lefty Gringo. I think that's a pretty sexy knife. And again, I still think my Padre is probably one of my best actions that I have. But they've gotten high. But I think that's a gorgeous knife. The Gringo. The Gringo. MPG EDC. Welcome, young lady. Good to see you, girl. We're about to get a little stropping tutorial from brother Kyle Coonley. I'd love for you to stick around, get some information. We got a giveaway coming up in a little bit. Do you have, Paul, do you have the Padre axis lock or not axis lock? Yeah. Or do you have the frame lock? Because I hate all Kung Wu. I love Kung Wu knives, but I hate all of their little bar locks, but the frame locks are super, super snappy. Now, I know they're all different. It was a frame? Was it a light action or was it too stiff? Yeah, that Primo's gorgeous. But I've only got 2 Kung Wu frame locks. I've got the original Cal, and they're both super snappy compared to my X-Towel, which is the little bar lock version, which is just really sluggish, kind of like a screen door blowing in the wind when you open it. I mean, it's a smooth operating axis lock or whatever you want to call it, bar lock. But I'm not a big fan. Snow Trog, good evening, brother. Let's see if I miss anybody else coming in here. I hope not. Let me get that. How's your action on yours, Demon? Because that's the thing that attracted me to the Kunwu brand more than anything else was the detent. Now I got my Padre on Blade Binge, and I was really lucky. The guy that I bought it from had bought two. He bought a satin, and he bought mine is too. Mine's like one of the best actions I've got. But he bought a satin and a stonewashed, and when he opened the satin, he fell in love with it. He didn't even open the plastic on the stonewash, and I bought it right away. It's the close, not the open, that I hate. So have you taken it apart and checked the bearings? Because they use double row bearings and they're Teflon. So I switched them out with skiffs. It's too droppy. Yeah. Now one thing you could do, mine's not like dangerously droppy, not nearly as droppy as my Evo, but that little corner there will cut your thumb. Yeah, and I think actions are just as important, and we all have kind of different, not only that we like different type of actions. I had an S-Tau, Paul. I traded it to Palmer. What's up, buddy? Thank you, man, for being a member. I had the S-Tau, Paul, and I knew that if I kept it, and what was a little funky to me was the hole placement for my finger was a little bit close to the pivot, and I wanted a hollow grind on it. So I knew I was going to send it out to Saitu, and A to Z, Jeff kind of wanted it. So we worked something out. And Paul, I've still got no pressure. Just if you're ever thinking about trading anything, I'm not as attached to my, I let one of my nips go, sold it to Ed Harrison. Fed wanted the purple one. I'm going to keep one nip at least, but I'm not trying to move them. It's just Paul and I sometimes trade. Yeah, the thumb holes, it's just kind of in a weird place, but it's a wonderful knife. And it's, that one's Vanex, right? If I'm not mistaken, the S-Tau was Vanex. But that's one of the few that I did trade away, just because I wasn't carrying it. You know, I've kind of gotten in the last month where I look at my collection and I try to carry more knives. Today I'm carrying a knife. I don't carry that much. It was my first Hinder, a little 3-inch Skinner that I traded or I bought from Dark Gravity. The DLC that Kunwu does is awesome. I think so too, Snowtrog. And I don't know the guy's name. I've heard it, but I know he's a knife guy. He's engaged or dates my internet crush, Countess Anne. And I follow them both on Instagram, and he's doing some cool designs. Yeah, Paul, no rush, buddy. I've got it here for you. I'm not letting it go anywhere else, just in case you want to come up with something. And I'm not too picky. Based on Kunwu pricing for material, please. It does. You know, lately it seems to be creeping up, and I don't know if that's because they've created demand and they feel like they can creep it up, or I don't know if there's something going on. You know, I think they're about to get real expensive. Yeah, Demonoc, I've got the front flipper in my opinion, because it's the frame lock, is much better. It's snappy. And it's also got that little minimalistic flipper on the back. But it's just a good shape knife, comfortable knife. I don't carry it enough. Edgy. Dude, I'm trying to go here. Let me deepen it. Let me get my Cole voice on. Is that more soothing? That way it doesn't sound like me. What's up, Cheeto? Good to see you, brother. That drives me crazy. I could never do that. But yeah, Shane, Kyle and I got together this afternoon and made sure he was able to access what he needed to do a little test StreamYard. And I think we're going to have a cool little get to know your strop. And ironically, I won't do a spoiler, but he got something in the mail today, which is pretty cool. I bought the Chad because of the sale they had on, yeah. And I'll tell you guys, I don't know if they're still available, but Arcform Designs is going out of business. And I don't know what else they make except the Arcform. But one of the first, this isn't really my jam anymore, but one of my first expensive knives was this Riot made Arcform Slimfoot. And Blade HQ and Arcform on their website had these guys. This was I want to say $299 knife when I bought it. It's like $139 now. And they make this in a frame lock flipper. And then they also make it in an automatic that ProTech OEMs for them. So let's just look at Blade HQ. I rarely go there, but let's go there and just see if they still have any. Because I can tell you they are good knives. The two I have, I really like. There's one that I almost got at Blade Show, but I didn't. And they had them here, but I don't know if they're sold out. Let's Arcform, enter, go share screen. Look at the squirrel. So they've got the Libra, or whatever you call it, Saber, for $80. Pry bars for $30. Here's a frame lock, fat carbon, for $200. Oh, the Theory is $204. It was $340. The one like mine is $186. It was $310. The automatics are $144, $139. So all of their knives, this is something that's really cool. It's a little knife that has an S35 VN blade that's removable. It's a chisel grind. And you can buy blades for it, a Tanto or a Drop Point. And they sell just the blades, but they've got these on sale for $63. A little weird, kind of like a street scalpel type of gig. Why can't I get out of there? So yeah, all the Arcform stuff is price to move. And they sold, nope, they still got the blades. So if that's something that you guys are into, they are cheap. Oh, they got a Warncliffe too for that little fixie. But the blades are expensive. I mean, the knife is on sale for what, $63, and the little S35 VN blades, $28. That's kind of proud of it. Yeah, if they're going out of business, you'd want to stock up on your blades now. But yeah, that's the Field Duty folder. This is the full size Field Duty in a liner lock. Josh, what's going on, buddy? I really like it, but my number one knife, not in value, but in what I love, is the Field Duty EDC in frame lock. This is the snappiest knife in my collection. And it's just a great little knife. Now, the full size is fantastic. It's S90V. A really good knife. They had two versions of these. They had the initial release that was plagued in a lot of people's opinion, by a very weak detent. So Leon sent them back to Riyadh. Some people might have kept theirs on the secondary. That's why I say, when you buy the blades for 20, they come with a look. Paul, do you have one of those little knives? One of those little scalpels? Have you tried one? That makes it, I mean, I can understand. I would think you could sharpen those blades. I would think you could maintain them pretty well. You know, if you wanted a Warncliffe and a Tanto, I wouldn't think you'd have to have them like, I don't think they're disposable blades necessarily. I think they're just, it's a light little booger, isn't it? I like the way they do their pry bar and their knife, with that little groove down the center that cuts down the weight and makes it more comfortable to hold. Very cool. 33025. Don't know where that is, but I'm going to Google it. I'm in 35801. You guys probably know where that is because of my accent. 33025. Pembroke Pines in the sunny state. Yeah, and it's interesting because I like little super light knives. I've got a couple of skeletonized ones. Yeah, I would think it might be a little bit more robust than something like this. This is a Baltic Blades little Angus and N690, just a little kind of street scalpel. And then this is kind of a cool little micro knife. This is an an Amsler Tools pinion in MagnaCut, a little neck knife. It's also got a bit driver and a little kind of not, I wouldn't call it a pry bar, but a little thing that you could use to pry if you wanted to, and a little Kydex sheath. Yeah, it looks more like a street scalpel kind of. I've got now this is a little thicker. Cole turned me on to these. I learned about them on his live. These are called Amsler Tools Hurricanes. And this one's S35. I've got a small one that's also a Tanto little scalpel that's MagnaCut. Parag. Yeah, I don't know why I call it that. It just, I guess because I do have a little retractable scalpel in my bug out bag that I got on Amazon that I carry when I hike. I've never needed it, but I carry sterile blades too. This is one that uses actual scalpel blades. It's a little titanium frame lock flipper, and you can buy your blades. And then I carry in my pack like 6 and a 7 and I think 3 different sizes. Again, just if I ever needed to cut something really detailed, or, you know, that's what I think of those little small fixed blades kind of for, is opening packages, opening letters. No drog. Hey, hawks are scared of me. They can tell the Banny Rooster in me. Although, when I was working for a company called Pro Image Installers, they did a lot of like, once a store, like a Target, was finished but nothing was in there, they would go in and they would put in all the fixtures and stuff so that then they could come in and put product on the shelves, right? They'd put up the shelves and all the signage. And so I sold for them, and they were located in what was the name of that bay? Down by Mobile, but it wasn't Mobile Bay. Red Bay, something like that. I was actually staying at the owner's little she had a bay house that was on stilts on the, I guess, Mobile Bay, because it was down close to Mobile. But you drove down a concrete road, a paved road, and then you turned onto gravel, and you went about 4 driveways down. That was about an eighth of a mile before you turned in, went to the gate to their little bay house that I was staying in. And I was skateboard, right? So I exercise in the afternoon, I go skate. And I think I've told this story, but I have to walk an eighth of the mile. I walk out of the house, up to the driveway, up to the gravel road, and then I have to walk that eighth of a mile to the concrete. I put my board down the asphalt and start pushing. Well, it's a woodsy area. And so I see a cat behind me run across the road behind me. And I was like, that's kind of a big cat. And I look back and I don't see it. And it's just a tree line, a little ditch, and then I'm on the road. And so I keep skating. I'm skating away from the house. And I look back and he's kind of peeking at me from the woods. And then I look back over my shoulder and I don't see that motherfucker. Well, then I go a little bit further and I look back and he's closer to me, just kind of looking out around the trees, right? Kind of doing the stalker thing. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to get any further, because it was about dusk, getting close to being dark. So I turned around knowing I was going to have to skate back. This is a 2-lane little country road that I was on. So I knew I was going to have to pass him to get back to the gravel road that I couldn't skate on, where I knew I would then have to pick up. This is before I carried a knife. I had to pick up my board and walk an eighth of a mile. So I thought, well, maybe he's gone. So no, he was a bobcat. He was a bobcat. So which is still fucking terrifying. So I go skating back by, pushing, and last place I saw him, I skate by. I don't see him. I'm thinking, good, maybe he went on his way. About that time, because I'm nervous, I look over my shoulder and he's watching me and he's following me, man. So now I've got probably 2 minutes before I'm at the end of the pavement, because I'm skating pretty fast. And I know I'm getting ready to have to get off my skateboard, right? Yeah, bobcat is a mountain lion for normal sized people. For me, it looked like a freaking Sahara lion. It was a big dude, but it wasn't. I've seen videos of people getting them untrapped, trying to rescue them, putting a little shield up, and I've seen the bobcats come over the shield. But yeah, I get back, I stop right there at the end of the road, because now I'm at the fences where I've got to turn left and walk down the gravel road. And I look, and I'll be damned if that little bastard is not right at the tree line, parallel to where I am, and I'm getting ready to start walking away from him down the gravel road. So I just do it. I don't run. I just start walking. Get about halfway from the road to the driveway that I'm going to turn in, because there was a gate there. Not that it would keep a bobcat out. But I look back, and y'all, he was following me. And he wasn't in like a stalky position, but he was like sizing me up for my weaknesses, and I've got plenty. So anyway, I told the people about it the next day, because I did survive it. It didn't attack me. I made it back to the bay house. And man, you heard the wildest sounds out there. All these different owls and all this different. I mean, it was a surreal weekend for sure. But yeah, I was telling Dixie, what's going on? Good to see you. It is us again. Speaking of murder kittens, let me go to YouTube. I don't know if I've told y'all, my mom rescued a feral cat where she plays tennis. It was hanging out there, and they were able to trap it. And she don't want that. Hold on. And so they were able to trap it. She thought it was a kitten. It turns out it's a 7-year-old miniature cat, right? So it's a little bit different. But I was over there visiting with her last night. And I'm going to share short with you. Get it pulled up. Hold on. All right. So this is Cooper. He's not a bobcat, but he's very much a wild cat. Can y'all see him? he is a little killer. Because you think about it, he's been on his own for, if the vet's right, and they look at their teeth to see how old they think they are. But if he's 7 years old, he's been out there on the lam, talk about avoiding hawks. And he's a little dude, but he would stand back. He was probably 3 feet away from the sofa. And instead of running up and jumping, he would just go, "Pow." Yeah. What's cool about this little guy is his stripes are 100% symmetrical. Thought I had a picture of him. Let me see. Like he's got bands on his knees, his left knee and his right knee look identical. The line under his eye. He's like a mirror image of himself. See if that'll open. This is a better, let's see, got here. All right, let me share this. He is, right now he'll sleep with my mom, but the little dude is really skitty. He'll let you pet him a little bit. So you can't really tell there, but like he's got black marks over his eyes that are both in the exact same place. He's got a little Eddie Munster from the Munsters thing there. And then he's got these bands on his knees. Everything is symmetrical on him. I don't know what this video is. That's just a picture. But yeah, he's a groovy little dude. He's just, I don't know how long it's going to take him to get, I think Manx are awesome looking cats. Yeah, Shane will tell you, I've got Tippy. She'll show herself at some point, but she's a stone cold gangster. She has no problem bringing me dead stuff. It's good to see you, Dixie. Has everybody got big plans for the holiday? So I'm Kathleen Smith. Welcome, young lady. So I'm having a low-key Christmas. And I'm hanging out with my mom, and I'll take care of my dad some on Saturday or on Wednesday, Christmas Day. But I'm going to, Tuesday night, I'm probably going to do an Insomniacs Live for anybody that's around. That'll be Christmas Eve. I don't think many people will be around. But I wasn't sure, and I figured, why not? For anybody who's not doing late Christmas Eve, because it doesn't start till 10:15. But yeah, that's something I was trying to decide. Well, do we do it? Do I not? Edgy, I wish too, dude. That she's lived 9 lives. That is for sure. She went missing full gangster style for like 4 months and showed up. We found her like 9.5 miles away. Paul, how big were they? Ron, good to see you, buddy. I'm doing fantastic, man. Nick, I love Friday nights, even though with my current schedule, every night's kind of Friday night, but I love Friday night flicks. I love hanging out with you guys. I'm really stoked because I think we're going to get some good information from Brother Coonley tonight. He's got some cool stuff to talk about. And again, I love learning. And I love sharpening. That's something that I don't know about y'all, but to me, I probably sharpen more than I should. I'm one of those guys that will sharpen a new knife to get the awesome Neil. Yeah, I'll definitely run it. I'll put some Santas and shit on the thumbnail, but we'll just make it a hang. But I'll sharpen a new knife to get the burn edge off if it's there. Now I won't if it's a knife, Safe Queen, or a really nice knife, but all my budget knives I will sharpen. I've gotten a lot better than I was. And to me, I could still slow down and even do it better, but it's therapeutic. I enjoy doing it. When I'm watching lives, a lot of times, because I keep my TS Prof on my coffee table, my little Blitz. Oh, Snow Trog. Hopefully you're getting time and a half, buddy. But if you can pop in from time to time, we'll be live. We'll be tracking Santa. Um, who knows what else we'll be doing? We might be fending off drones. And thank all of you guys. I saw Mark Parks come up, and it made me think about Be Up Day and how awesome that was. And I talked to Shane this morning for a couple hours, and Stevie was talking about it the other night, the Honey Bucket, and I think doing something a couple of times a year, it's just to me, it's such a good thing. It's such a positive thing. Everybody coming together for, to learn about somebody who kind of took all the things that's good in people and kind of encapsulated that, where he had people, of course, that he wasn't jiving with, but he was kind and outreaching to everyone. Are they the Chavez? I did see. Uh-oh. It's not a value knife, right? It's the new Riot made Chavez, right? Because I did see something that I didn't. The Redemption Kickstop. Which one is it, Ron? But Mark Parks was a huge part of Be Up Day. Ed Harrison said Stevie, Pocket Metal, Shane, just everybody. My point was, the more people share stories about Brother Brown, I've had so many people tell me via text or via DM, I never was able to meet Jason, but I can feel what a positive influence he was in the community, just seeing the outpouring of love, right? So I just think Be Up should be what we strive to live for, right? Be positive, be up, lift people up around you. Look past differences, the whole debate, not hate thing, but that's starting to get tired, even though I've got it on a hat that I'm not wearing right now. But yeah, it was exhausting. It was emotionally exhausting, but it was just a good thing. And it makes such a difference, I think, to Sarah and Nora. I know when Nora gets a little older and realizes, what she probably already does, how important her dad was to so many people, I think that would be a cool thing. Not being in that position, but I think it definitely would beat the alternative, right? But just so much love for everybody that participated and y'all who brought it together and made it happen last year and this year. And I just think it's a great thing. I would have no problem in the second half, and this is not my call, but trying to do it like we did Knives Live, not for getting a bunch of channels involved, but in terms of reaching out and raising from manufacturers some really great prizes, to have like a couple of big giveaways where all you have to do is we come up with an amount that you donate to Nora's Fund. It's pinned for anybody that's wondering what that link is at the top of the chat. That's Nora Brown's college fund that brother got him Beard of Doom set up. A super, super cool and kind thing that he did when it happened. And thought about if we could, like we did with Knives Live, we collected just some killer prize packs. People would go donate to Knives Live and just email an address we had set up, which came to me, their receipt. And then for each X amount of dollars, you'd get an entry, and we do a drawing live a week afterwards, after the live stream, where we were getting people. It's just a thought that I had, because we did it for knife rights for 2 years, and it raised a lot of money. And that's, I think, where the focus of the donations are kind of going, right? So that it's a fund that will grow, that will, Nora, if she decides that she doesn't want to go to college, she can use it to start a business, to live, to get started in life, right? It's just it's a good thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just a win-win-win, right? Derek, I haven't seen Fed yet, but Fed opened my eyes to a knife that I'd never even given a second thought to. But I could tell how it would be. I can see why it's so popular because it's so inexpensive and it'd be a great fishing knife, tackle box knife, truck knife, pack knife, camp knife, steak knife, um, you name it. I mean, it's just a $15 slicer. Sweet. Sunday night, we will be there, MPG EDC. You and Edgy go at the exact same time. I think at 9. And I've usually I fall asleep. Well, that's usually kind of a cat nap time for me, but I will definitely be there. I love your lives. I love your top downs. I love your dialogue, your train of consciousness, so to speak. Fed hooked Shane up with that 50th anniversary live wire, right? It kind of became a blur to me in the end. I remember Mark jumping up on the John Gray. I met John Gray. I've got a picture of me and John Gray. He's an interesting cat for sure. Um, and I know Fed got away with Edgy's knife, which, guys, that was to me where I almost had to get off camera because that Edgy's story, and I'd heard that story before, which is kind of, it shouldn't have been so touching, but each time he tells it, it's just super touching. Which we could absolutely shift gears. Let me see if I can find something real quick. Hold on. While we wait for Kyle, I'm going to pull up. We're going to play a game called Does This Make You Cringe or Does This Make You Laugh? Hold on. Where was it? Where was it? Hold on, guys. I'm thinking that I know where it was. I know where it was. It was on my live. All right. Y'all chat amongst yourselves. Raise your hand if you've not heard about Shane's greatest moment of his life. I think most of y'all have heard it. So I don't want anybody to not see that. I think that's must see TV. But if y'all, I'm sure most of y'all seen it, but let me know if you haven't seen Shane's highlight. It was on Metal Mondays. I'm thinking. Maybe not. When was it? Well, Shane he dodged the bullet because I can't remember exactly where it was. Shane, where was that live stream where you talked about James? It is a dumb rehash of the story, but it's a funny story. I think it's I don't find it offensive because I know after talking to Shane, him and James's relationship, and you know, friends, I know my friends bullied me or did stuff to me that they didn't do it with hate in their heart, but it was funny in hindsight. But yeah, that's just to me, he's one of the greatest storytellers ever. I mean, Shane could do an open mic where he just goes on stage and tells a couple of stories or a few stories. And I think he's got as many stories as any of us. Yeah, Derek, he's lived more lives than probably all of us have. He's lived it and he survived it. Yeah, I think it's the way he, because I was on the hook thinking when he was running out, he was going to pick up James. And the way he transitioned without even his inflection and his voice changing, it just it takes you by surprise. I mean, it's comic genius. I thought it was hilarious. Um, Again, I don't condone little people spinning. I don't condone, anything like that. But that was a long time ago, and I think it was, I think if James and Shane were to talk today, there's no hard feelings there. Let's see. What did I miss? What was the Chavez, the tack integral? All right, let me see. I don't think I saw that. Oh. Oh, is this it? Let me share. That's some kind of a bolster lock. That'll be a little guy. I like it. I'm a big fan of Chavez. I've got the reason I say it'll be a little guy is I've got the Chavez Street, which is the size up from the tack, which stands for tiny ass knife. But this little guy is much smaller than the 229. And I don't know if a TAK would be too small. Probably not. How long is it? It is 6.25 inches. So 6.25 inches. Street. Yeah, the street's 7.5. So that's 7.5 inches. That's an inch and a quarter bigger than the tack. So that'll be a little guy, but it's a beautiful knife. Was it a kick stop or did it have thumb studs? Let me look. Uh, it is a kick stop, isn't it? Oh, I'm not sharing. Share screen. So it's got a flipper, but when it's open, nope, it's not a kick stop. It's just a flipper. Only 50. I think it's cool. I would just be wary of the size, right? To make sure it's not going to be smaller than what, I mean, the thickness will be great, but than you would carry. I picked up a knife on Blade Binge a couple of weeks ago. It's called the Tyconic. Um, Dude, he's hilarious. But where's your town? I love Theo. That was plenty. Yeah, it's all subjective, you know. Marco, what is up? What is up? What's the other knife I saw? Hold on, let me check right here. I've got my different retailer sites pulled up because I was looking around today and saw something that was pretty cool. Look who's in the house. Let me turn off the tunes. Howdy, Kyle Coonley. Can you hear me? Not yet. Paging Kyle Coonley. He's
Yep.
gonna.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, buddy.
Perfect. How we doing?
We're here doing good, man. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Do you have your Blackbeard? What's up, Blackbeard Ant? Do you have your iPad where you can see it? I don't see it in here, but I know you aren't maybe gonna.
No, because I ended up emailing you that.
I've got it. I've got it.
I
So
didn't bother to pull that up too. So
you tell me when we want to share that. I'm going to make you the primary and let you kind of. I'd let everybody know that we were going to what we were going to talk about
sorry, I was trying to log in for a while, but it wouldn't let me. So it took me a minute to get back into the stream. So
because you were on your clandestine browser and it wouldn't let it access your camera.
absolutely.
But guys, Kyle Coonley, I forget if it was Shane's Live where we were talking about stropping. And I realized real quick that I'm not stropping right. I love Asher knives, Ron. I've had a bunch of Asher knives. They are great knives
Thanks, Marco.
for the price. But I'm going to turn it over to Kyle Coonley, Cleaning and Work Sharpening. Why does it sound like he's wearing a creeper mask? I think that's his breather.
Is my audio low? Hang on. Let me adjust it for you.
No, I mean, your audio sounds fine. I think it sounds like a breather.
It sounds low. Is that any better, guys?
I can hear you good. I'm hoping everybody can. You sound clear to me.
All right. No, that me breathing like a creeper is probably my vape I was hitting, so that's why. All right. So talking about sharpening and knife maintenance, what a lot of people get in the habit of doing is they just sharpen their knives instead of just maintaining them. So I kind of wanted to go through the process of how I go about maintaining a knife. And so there are three key steps when you sharpen a knife. Number one, obviously, we're going to create an apex and follow up with consistent stones afterwards to get a polish to whatever we want, right? Then you hone it with another stone, one that's a little bit finer grit to remove any of that.
Hey, Kyle, can you get any closer to the mic? I'm just seeing a couple of comments asking that it's still just a little low. And I think it's a distance because you turned to it once and you got louder.
I'm on my AirPods, so
I got you. I
can't get any closer to them to right in my ears.
Let me see if I turn this up.
Hang on, let me see if I can adjust my volume inside of StreamYard too. So
I just turned you up on the soundboard. I just need to remember to turn that down before I play music. Yeah, smash that like button, guys. I'll get him where y'all can hear him.
So I promise you. Where I can adjust it.
Go to settings.
Yep.
And then general. Hold on. Settings, audio.
Yep.
And then you'll want echo cancellation checked, reduce background noise, and then your mic volume. I don't have the automatically adjust set.
Okay, let me adjust that then.
Yeah, you can adjust your slider. And when you talk, you can see it as you adjust it up in the little mic default. You can see little bars moving.
Is that any better, guys? Give me a heads up.
How do y'all hear that? I hear it good. Can you hear better, guys? I think you're good, Kyle.
So that's all the way up. So that's as far as it goes.
You're not too loud. You're not breaking up. Okay. And I can only back you down here, but I can hear you.
All right. As long as I'm not clipping, we're good.
You're not clipping.
Okay. So back to where we were. So once we're done sharpening, we want to, sorry, I'm reading the comments. Once we get done sharpening, we want to hone it and then strop it to remove all the final burrs. So in maintenance, we do that the complete backwards way. So the first thing you do is you're going to strop it. If stropping doesn't take care of it, then we're going to hone it. And then if it doesn't come back, then we will go to a sharpening process. So let let's go through a couple things, Javon. Let's see if we can't pull
You want me
up.
to bring up your PDF?
Yeah, if you can pull that up, that'd be great.
Yep. Give me 2
Guys, I don't know
seconds.
what to do. They're saying I'm still quiet, but I'm talking loudly, and my headphones are right next to me. So
And I've got earbuds in, and it's not loud, but I can hear you. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see if we can see that. And I'm going to. Whoops. All right.
sorry.
Stropping versus honing.
All right. So let's kind of talk about looking at a blade, what the difference is. So I'm gonna pull out a ball blade or dull blade. Let's get a stone and let's get a strop. So
I'm going to make you big real quick so they can see you.
Yep.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine. Okay. So this knife, it's not dull, but it's not crazy sharp. Meredith, I am talking loud. Sorry. So what the first thing I would do is I'd take it to a strop. Now, we can do that on a system or we can do it by hand. If I'm working on the strop and say cuts and base, I don't feel much difference, then that's when I would take it and go over to the stone, make the same motions where I am stropping it.
Just like you're stropping it, but doing it on a stone.
Correct. Back and forth. And then I would go from that point back to the strop. And then I'm going to get some more bite. Oh God, Meredith. So then I'm going to have more bite to my edge. So that's the basic principle. So now we're going to break into when and why you do each one. Okay. So, and what all we need to accomplish that.
And tell me when you want me to go back to the document, Kyle, because I've got
Go
you
ahead,
big.
go back.
Okay. All right. So should we scroll down for when to hone, when to strop?
Yep. Let's go to the next one. So we kind of talked about the process of when it does and when it doesn't, but does everyone understand the difference between a burr and a roll?
A burr to me feels sharp, or it feathers off depending on the steel.
Yeah, a burr you should be able to roll your finger directly across and it feels like it's just catching. A roll, when you go across it, you'll actually feel some pressure back against it. So it's actually steel bent a little harder. Okay. So if you are doing something in a on the stone, you're going to get a roll out more than you would a strop. So, anyways, now we're talking about that. It's the basics of that. Sorry if I'm confusing you.
No, because the stone's harder, right? The stone's
Correct.
going to give you more chance to roll, where the strop, if you're not putting too much pressure, is not going to give you that if you do it right.
Correct. So, like that paragraph states, we're going to do it in reverse. So we're going to strop first. And the key is when you're stropping, I shouldn't have to sit there and strop for 10 minutes or 15, 20 passes. It should be a few passes per side, and you should start seeing a result. If you don't, then go to the hone. And a hone can be a couple different things. A hone can be a fine grit stone. A hone could be a ceramic rod. Any option that's a little bit finer than the stone that you came off of when you sharpened. So say I sharpened at 600 grit with my flat stone. Then I would go to like a 1500 grit stone, and that's what I would hone with, right?
Right. But if you got your burr initially, there's no need to go back to your system. You should be able to get it using one of those two, the hone or the strop.
Correct. So if it's not damaged too badly, that's why we're doing maintenance. We're not doing sharpening. You want to do maintenance between your sharpening so you don't have to take off as much steel and waste that steel off the blade. So if we strop it and you're not getting a response, go to a hone. Then you hone it until you feel nothing on there. There's no more residual roll or not much burr you can feel. Then the last couple passes, you're going to take it back to the strop, knock off the microscopic burr that you can't see, and then you're done.
And when you're determining your angle, I guess we're going to get to that when we go to how to strop properly.
Yep, we're going to go through all that process next. So, yeah, so going into that, if you want to go ahead and slide down about how we actually get to stropping. So, the biggest things with our strop is trying to figure out the angle, right?
Right.
And you can strop on so this is just plain leather. This is a thicker type of cowhide leather. I've got somewhere here, I've got basswood. I've got big strops, big paddle strops with different types of compound on them. I've got all kinds of strops. But anyways, the point is you want a firm substance behind your substrate. So like this has steel behind it. This has a thick chunk of wood behind it.
Right.
So you can have synthetic. Something that's going to hold that. You don't want to just be doing it on a plain piece of, people always used to do it with their belts. That's suspect. I mean, you can get it done, but it's not going to be ideal. So now that we have our strop and we have our substrate, we haven't figured out what we're going to use. The key is trying to get to that angle. Okay. And if you go back to that screen for a second, John.
Yep.
I want people to see it kind of a little bit as I'm talking so they can see both. But I wanted to show some of the touch points. So we're trying to match the angle that we sharpened at. Okay. The difference is you can damage the edge by stropping it incorrectly. So you can actually make it duller. So we have to get to the point where we can break out a strop, feel comfortable enough where we're not going to damage it. So number one key is when I'm stropping, I am not going to be pushing down hard on it. I'm using very, very light pressure. It should be the point where I'm holding it with my forefinger and thumb, trying to get to that angle.
And really just letting the weight of the knife.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it, you can hold on to all the way. Just don't push down on the actual strop. You want to keep it to the point where you are very, very light pressure.
Floating on top of it.
Right. So if we look at this from the side, okay, we have that thick piece of leather. It, even though it's on aluminum, it still has some give to it, right?
Right.
So if I'm putting a lot of pressure down on it while I'm stropping, there's a good chance that that's going to give, and that will roll over the top of this edge and actually start to slightly convex it.
Gotcha.
So by being softer, we can try to maintain that V. Now, if you want to convex it, then yeah, you would get a loose piece of leather and use that as your strop. So the number one thing is we're not using much pressure, so that way we can try to keep the edge from convexing. All right. Number two, the key is for a tip is making sure we're taking our time. So like if you watch me, I was doing those. I can actually sit there and just go super slow until you get comfortable with it. Doing your edge, go super slow. I don't have to sit here slapping down back and forth as fast as I want. take your time. I mean, you're not in a hurry with this. You're just trying to maintain that edge.
Kyle, are you feeling resistance, or are you keeping the angle shallower than you sharpen it at? Are you feeling a tiny bit of resistance when you strop?
Uh, Not really. If I've honed properly, not really.
Because you're trying to match that angle perfectly. You're not trying to be shallower or deeper on the strop, right?
Yeah, and that's what we're going to get to in the next portion of this. But yeah, so ideally, if I sharpen the knife, I get a burr, and then I go through my stones to the very end, then I'm going to use that hone like we talked about. That's the second step in sharpening. That's going to get rid of the majority of the burr. What I'm doing with a strop should be the very minute last little part, so that way I don't.
Uh-oh. Sorry, Kyle.
What's wrong?
I accidentally flushed you for a second.
Oh, that's fine.
So let me
You
go
there?
back to our, yeah, I'm going back to our, my PDF closed up on me.
Oh, that's right.
Here we are.
100% chance not on that one, Ant.
Okay, so if you set your angle too low, you'll just drop the top of the bevel.
We're gonna get to that. So,
Yep.
we were talking about where were we actually? We were
Take
talking
your
about
time.
take your time. So, the resistance wise, you should not feel a lot because you should have had the majority of that burr taken off with the hone. So now you're just doing the last little bit, couple passes, right? So the next part, number 3, if you set your angle too low, then what's going to happen is, let me grab this dark piece that's this fresh load. So if you can see that, I'm going to put that almost flat on the bevel, right? Now if I just were to do that, and you go back and look, that black line is at the very, very top of where my bevel was. I don't know if it's even visible or not.
You're not even reaching the edge.
Right. So that's not getting down to the apex. That's just the back of the bevel, closest to the spine where it's hitting. So you're not going to reach that by having your angle too low. But conversely, if I had my angle really high like this, and I try to go across, then all I'm going to be doing is flipping that edge completely over and making a mess out of it.
Right.
So what you're trying to do ideally is hit that directly. What I will say, the best bet for someone who's just starting out, start low and work your way up. Because if you go high and try to work your way down, you're just going to cause more problems.
Right.
So what I like to do is, like, say you're using a compound. Right? We're going to talk about different types of compounds. You use something like gunny juice, like this, where it's black. If I'm going shallow, I can start to actually see where I'm hitting on my actual bevel. And if you need to get out a jeweler's loupe and look at it very closely and see exactly where you're at, then do it. But start low until the point where you can actually start seeing that black line from the compound closer to the apex. And then eventually you will start to get the feel of where the angle is. But the first part I would always say is hold it flat, raise it up until you can't see any daylight. So
Right.
if I were from the back here, if there was light coming from back there, I want to raise this up until I can't see daylight. That's where I'm going to start. And then I'm going to check the back of the knife and go from there and see if I need to adjust. But always start low, work up. Because if you were to go high first, you got a good chance of really screwing up your edge.
And then you're back on your system. There's no way to fix that.
Then you're going back to, well, you can potentially hone it out. Depends how bad you screw it up. But it's that process of, we're just trying to get the last little bit of burr off of there. That's what stropping is. It's making it to the sharpest you can get it from the way you apexed it originally. So does that make sense?
It does. And you always use a strop, don't you, as your final?
Yeah, but I'm not. But the key is I'm not going to sit there and strop for, 20 passes on each side, and going back and forth. What I'll do is after I spent more time honing than I do stropping. And then when I get to the strop part, it's literally like I'll do like 3, 3, 1, 1,
And
1,
one.
and I'm done. Because at that point, I don't need anything else. I'm barely taking off. You don't want to be ripping the burr off. You want to bend the burr back and forth until it falls off.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that as we go further into like picking compounds and that kind of stuff. So that's the basics on how to find your angle. You can also do it too, where if you were looking down the line of it, you were to put your eyes directly here, raise it there so you can see it a little bit better. I rarely ever put a strop directly on the table.
I always hold on.
It's usually in my hand at an angle going away from me so I can see that actual angle and whether I'm hitting it or not. Okay.
Right.
The other thing we can talk about that I wrote on there that if you see some of the motions I was doing, the general motion is we're using edge trailing passes, because if I were to go into it this way, I'm going to cut the
leather.
So we're going edge trailing, meaning that the edge is going to go away from us. All right, like that. Now, to be able to find that, it takes a little practice. That's when we say start low, work high. But if you watch where I'm doing, I'm putting the tip so the tip is completely flat on there. Is that visible very well for you?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm putting it there, and they call it like a J stroke. So I put it there where it's flat, and I can see that there's no light coming up. I'm going to pull forward. It's not going to cut in, and then I can drop into it, and that's how I find my angle.
So your strop, even though you're just lining it up on the tip when you do the J, and then you're pushing it from the tip to the
whole let me stand up, and I'll do it this way to see if it makes it a little bit easier to see. Tell me if that looks good for you.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to put that flat on the strop, pull towards me, and then push away. And as you notice, that heel starts to come lower, and the tip starts to go up in the air, right? All I'm doing is I'm keeping my wrist straight. I'm just bringing it towards me, pushing away, and as I push away, my elbow that I'm holding a knife with lowers. So it's this motion. My wrist stays the same.
But your elbow, you drop it slightly to keep that angle.
Yeah. And that's how you'll get, but that takes practice. But that's something that when you do that, once I grab that first part of that tip right there, I can feel instantly when I grab the right angle. So then it's just a slight push backwards.
Because you're only doing it, like you said, maybe 3 times the side, then a couple of single pushes.
Well, not only that, but you'll start to learn the feel. I can feel when I'm doing this that did I catch it? Nope. There. Now I caught that angle. Now it's just a push back.
When you say when you're catching that angle, is that like slightly catching the leather on the blade, but not cutting it?
Kind of. It's that borderline where you feel like it could catch, but it's not going to. Like,
gotcha.
Because if I go real high, like I can't go forward because I'm starting to cut the leather. But if I were to go here, I can feel like that's starting to grab, but it's not enough towards cutting in the leather.
Gotcha.
So there, I can feel it, then I push backwards.
1931, I haven't been doing the J sweep either. I had a hard time because I used to watch Jared do it, but I had a hard time recreating that motion where I just tried to do it.
I call it advanced motion, and it's awkward until you get the hang of it. And then once you get the hang of it, it's almost hard to do it any other way because you actually can feel the correct angle as you get there.
Well, watching you do it or watching Jared do it, it looks like second nature. But you'll find, guys, when you're sitting there doing it, it does. What I picked up from watching Kyle do it was it's almost like he's dragging it at a 45-degree angle back towards him and then just letting that angle turn and go up. I'm going to
Yeah,
try that.
you can do fancy things where you go here and then you do these big sweeping circle motions. You can do all kinds of things, but what I do is I basically put the tip on there so it's flat and it's got the width of the tip on there so I know it's flat. I rock it till I feel like it's right there on that angle. Start to pull forward. That's a little bit high. Go there. Not bad. And then I can push backwards. So and that's the other thing too. The harder I push down, even if I've got a low angle, I'm going to cut that leather because I'm putting pressure down. So it's light pressure. Rock it till you find that angle on the tip. Pull towards you. Push away.
And just let it glide over at the right angle.
Yep. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So another thing too, as you notice, I always start with the tip. You can go the other direction. You can go heel. To me, it's awkward and it's going against the way of.
Because you have to raise your elbow at the end when you go the other way.
Well, I'm sharpening this direction, so if I'm taking the burr off, I want it to be going the opposite direction, so it folds it off.
Gotcha.
So, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So, let's go back to the.
You want to go back up to stropping, or the next thing we were on was how to hone properly? You covered.
So we're going to go to that. So let's go to hone. So basically the same, like we talked about, the same thing is going to apply to a stone from a strop. I am going to, same thing, get that tip on flat on there, pull it towards me, and then push away. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just try to get to the point where you see no light in the back of the knife, excuse me. See, I just did it by habit of going that way. And then just push away from you.
Using the same no pressure, you're kind of treating that like it's a hard strop, right?
Absolutely. No pressure at all. Boom. And then same thing, flip it, go opposite direction. And as you see, my stone's starting to get a little black line on there.
Right. That's your burr?
I have a little bit of burr that's starting to pull off of there.
So you'll spend more time on your hone if you need to.
And then, so then I have it honed. I don't have anything on there. Then that's when I would go to my strop and do just a few passes.
And you were telling me that's just pulling those little saw teeth, not really pulling them, but it's just kind of lining them up, right?
Yeah, it's actually, you're trying to get the teeth to align going this direction up towards the apex, right? And you want them to be to the point where if these are your teeth, the burr would be a little bit of fold over. Well, if I rip that off of there, then I'm going to have a jagged, uneven edge, right?
Right.
I'm trying to slowly fold them back and forth, and then at the very end, I'm trying to polish them so it just aligns them and doesn't break them off.
I got you.
So that's what we're going to talk about next with the different types of emulsions. So that is a huge misconception that you want to strop grit back into your knife. That's not possible. Okay, so let's talk about what we need. So obviously we need a dull knife or a knife that needs updated. We're going to need a strop of some sort. I prefer smooth leather. It takes that or an actual wood surface. I've got basswood, I've got oak, I've got different things. Something that's a little bit firmer. It helps keep from over using pressure. We're going to need a compound. I like diamond emulsion. It works much better. And then a hone, like we talked about, can be a ceramic rod. It can be a finer grit stone. And then, like I said, getting a light, getting a well lit area so you can see. You put a flashlight behind your stone or your strop, so that way you can see that there's no
light coming through.
And then also when you're done, or even while you're working, having something, whether it be a light or a magnifier or something like that, so you can actually see where am I hitting on my bevel to know that I've reached everything I need to.
Guys, and I can't stress, I think I picked up one at Gritomatic, but I was on Amazon and you can get them for under $5. Those jeweler loops with a little light.
Oh yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got one of these. The only problem with these is the batteries don't last very long. And I mean, I go through maybe 8 to 10 knives. And if I use this consistently with it, I mean, I'm not talking about leaving it. I'm talking about looking at it, turning it off. Looking at it, turning it off. I go through 10 knives and I got to replace batteries. So, I mean, the batteries do not last in these things. I've got that. I've got individual small lights like this where I can actually light up my area. So where my phone is attached currently, I'll screw this on there and have a light shining directly down so I can see what I'm doing and working a little bit better. That's important. And then if I want to get crazy, I've got one of these microscopes that goes anywhere from, I think it's, let's see, 50 to 1,000 X, and it hooks up to my phone Bluetooth, and then I can go over and look at it and look at my phone, and while I'm pulling across here, it shows that on the phone.
I saw those at Amazon too.
Yeah, these are like $40.
Yeah.
They're kind of gimmicky because you're not going to use them all that often, but if I'm trying to make sure that something is, like if I'm doing a mirror, or if I'm doing something I need to have all the scratch patterns out of, then this will be something that will help me. So that's the basics of what you need. So let's talk for a second about emulsions, right? So when and where and what do we want? So there's all kinds of emulsions. There is, let's see, okay, pull out sampling. So we have, everyone knows, kind of your green compound, right?
Right.
Your standard. Now this one's a little bit different because this green compound is actually diamond based. It's not just an aluminum oxide based.
How do you like that stuff? Do you like it pretty good?
No, not really. But okay. I got it for different purposes for different things. So there's that. Then you also have this type where it's actually a same thing. It's a compound, but it's like a lipstick style, and you just rub it on. That's what's on this actually. There's those two. Then you have stuff like diamond emulsions, like gunny juice, right? Gunny juice is phenomenal. It's expensive and it's hard to get. So I, completely honest, it's the most expensive out there by far. This is the small bottle. This is, I'll say 10 or 15 milliliters, and this is like $34. And the big bottle now is like, it's ridiculous. I can't remember exactly how much. Then, although this stuff, if you're not abusing it, will last a long period of time, right? Then this is probably my new favorite. This is stroppy stuff. It's similar to gunny juice, the same basic principle. These are color coded, so if you have lots of different grits, it makes a difference because it's easier to grab it by the color.
Right.
But I will say that they work equally as well. I probably prefer this a little bit better, just by how it cuts. This dries faster, so they both dry quickly. But if you're in a hurry, gunny juice will dry faster. This will take a minute longer. So now let's talk about what grits we want to get, or microns, I should say. And microns are based off of the grit chart. So the general consensus for years was go something. If you want to keep a working edge, you get a You sharpen that 400 to 800 grit, you take it to a 6 micron, right? Well, if we go back to our theory of when you're creating a burr like this, right? And as we hone, we're trying to fold that back a little bit, right? We're trying to,
Right.
they call it align the apex. We're trying to get that to get to a point where it's almost dead even, right? Well, under a microscope, you will see that at the very end of your apex, so let's go to something like this. So that's got a bigger bevel, so it'll be easier to see. So at the very, very tip of your apex, okay, right down here, there will be little micro nubs that hang off, right?
Look
And
like hairs, right? Look like little.
yeah, they're jagged, and the principle of it is, so if I've got these little ones, so I mean, if this is dead straight, this would be just little ones, right? And I've got a good apex on a 600 grit, and I'm ready to hone the strop. If I go to something that is toothy, I'm sorry, I want that edge to stay toothy. If I go to something that is like a 9 micron or a 7 or a 6, there's a higher likelihood that when that strop makes contact, because it's a, you think micron is basically the size of the diamonds, right?
Right.
Same. So it's a more coarse, more aggressive than a lower grit. So if I were to do that, has a higher likelihood of taking those little feathers, those little microscopic pieces, and ripping them off, like we talked about before. So now I am losing the bite that I wanted because it's ripping the burr off completely.
Just by using that little bit higher or lower grit, 6 or 9 or
Correct. So, and there's an article out there that I'll share with everybody that shows this in under a microscope, so you can actually see the detail at a microscopic level. So, the principle behind here is when I take it with a lower stake, a 3 micron or 1 micron, instead of ripping those little microscopic teeth off, what I'm going to do is polish them. And as I polish them, they become straighter and straighter and straighter and getting to forming a tighter apex, which actually makes the knife sharper. So if you were to do, technically, if you were to do, like, say, catcher test, and you take a knife off of a stone and you properly, here's the key, you properly honed it. You're not just taking a knife off 600 grit stone and going straight to a straw. If you have properly honed it, you remove most of that burr, the big portion of the burr, and realigned it. Now you're going to go to the strop and remove that last little bit. You go to a lower grit, it polishes it, makes it sharper. If I were to take a 600 grit edge that's been properly honed and then put it on 9 micron strop and then put it on a 1 micron strop, every single time that 1 micron strop is going to be sharper and it's going to have more bite, which is counterintuitive. People think, oh, if you polish it, it's not going to have bite. No, it's because you're aligning the teeth at the very apex.
right.
So it's polishing them into the very end of the apex instead of ripping them off.
Let me ask you a question about the honing. So
Yep.
if I'm using a TS Prof and I'm using my Veneves, because I've got honing Veneves like you're using there in your hand, do you ever use them on the system with light pressure to hone?
Hey, you can do that. You can do
Okay.
that.
So I can just let that be the last stone before I go to my strop.
Yeah. So here, because it's the same principle like when we're sharpening, right? So if I'm, let me open this up. If I'm sharpening this knife, right? I'm going this direction, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth till I get it sharp, right?
Right.
The very last stone is my hone. I'm going to go tip to heel. Obviously that's going to be an edge trailing motion. So I'm taking that burr and flipping to the other side. Then I flip this around, same thing. Go tip to heel. And I go back and forth until I don't feel the burr on either side. If flipping it back and forth, that's your honing motion. Okay.
Right. And you're doing about maybe 2 passes on each side at this point, right? Maybe 3.
No, at this point I'm going until I can feel that there's nothing on this edge, nothing over here. Then I'll flip it, go to the other side, do it again, make sure there's nothing on this side, and go back and forth until I get it on both sides.
Till
Right?
it snaps, right?
Until it's so minimal that you can barely feel it. Then that's when I go to a strop. So this is what I'm talking about being properly honed, not just take it to my 600 grit and then I'm done and I take it to a strop. No,
I got you.
that's not going to help.
I
By
think that
having,
was a big misconception that I know I had, that if I wanted to keep it toothy, I didn't want to go to that hone necessarily. I was mistaken there.
right. But the key is I'm not trying to, when I'm doing this, I'm not going like back and forth like this, because that's just going to create a bigger or more of a burr. I'm trying to go one direction very lightly, just trying to flip it to this side and then fatigue it back and forth, and then I'll take it to the strop and get that last little bit off there.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Hopefully
I
that
think I would do it on my system just because I've got the stones to hone and just be more careful and lighter on those last stones, which I'm kind of light on all of them.
the only difference is, so like, say you don't take notes or whatever, and then you grab your knife and you're like, oh, this needs to be honed. You can either do it by hand and find that angle, or you have to put it back in here and try to find it this way, and then that makes it a little more difficult.
Right. Is that when you would use your Sharpie?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. We'll go back to your notes.
Yes, please.
And guys, what I will do is I will save and put this PDF file up on the community tab where you guys can download it if you want it, if Kyle doesn't mind.
No, that's perfectly fine. Hopefully, I'm not boring the shit out of people, but this to me is a very important part of maintenance because it keeps you from having to sharpen and waste more steel than needed. So, um, so we talked about that. Yeah, that was basically it. So we talked about items we needed. What I ended up doing is, so for most of my sharpening jobs, if I'm staying at 600 to 1,000 grit, I'm taking it down to like 1 micron or 3 micron, depending upon what I'm doing, or even sometimes lower. It just depends on the knife and the steel. But by doing that, I'm getting a toothy edge that has bite, and it's not going to drop that nearly as fast as if you were to use a. Now, let me preface this: if you want to do a mirror polish, it's ideal to go in a progression of grits with your strops, because that gives it a better chance of polishing that edge because you're trying to get every single imperfection out of there.
Taking it each step at a time and just smoothing it a little bit at a time.
Correct. All right.
Go over selecting a stropping compound as well as lots of questions on that. It looks like, because that's something that you opened my eyes on.
So, what we? I'm sorry, I didn't see the question. Okay, Todd. So go over. So the reason to me why using diamonds makes more sense is it cuts better and polishes better. Yes, you can use the old-fashioned compound aluminum oxide, and they will work. It just takes more effort and more work. And why do I want to spend more time if I don't have to? Especially for like when I'm doing it for making money, it doesn't make sense to be spending more time than I need to on something. So like with say these stroppy stuffs, right? Totally different. I've got a 9 micron, which I use for doing progressions and or tools like heavy, like more outdoor stuff. Then I've got, this is a 0.1 micron. So this is a tenth of a micron. This
So
is
that's
like
probably the finest you can get, right?
correct. So then I've got different things in between. I've got gunny juice in 3 and 1 and 0.5. I've got, like I said, I've got this is 7. This is a 5. I've got like a whole thing of a bunch of other ones in here that try to pull out and find. I've got a 6, Like, so I've got all different types for basically what I'm doing.
So
Um,
if you were gonna go, I think most here, some might do polished edges, but if you were gonna go for just a basic working edge, right? And you were gonna go from your hone, would you go through multiple grits to get that working edge, or would you just find one and like
for
you
my
say, if you
yeah,
hone it right, it shouldn't take much.
yeah. So spend the time honing, then you go to your strop. You only take a couple passes per side, going back and forth. I would suggest if you're doing like toothy edges, you're not doing mirrors, you're not going through progressions. Something like a 3 or 1 micron is ideal.
And
The
that's
bet
something I learned, guys, because I was always using sixes. Um,
the better you are with the hone and or your last stone getting that burr off, the less time you have to spend on the strop, and the lower you can go on the strop and keep that bite.
that makes sense. And like you say, it seems counterintuitive, but when you look at the physics of how you're aligning that apex, it makes sense.
Correct. And that's been, like I said, there's a article out of the UK. So a guy had started coming up with this theory, and then I did some more research on it and found that there are other people like looking into it before I was. So I'm not taking credit for anything, but it was refreshing to see that it was backed by some evidence of, under a microscopic environment. Where in this was not like my little cheap one. This was like a laboratory. So, um, do we have any questions on selecting items or what we need?
Pitt, I'm glad Pitt said it's been very helpful. And Todd, you get a lot of questions. Did Kyle answer it? Because what I got out of a conversation with him earlier is instead of getting a 6, I'm gonna clean my strop with an eraser and maybe some real high grit sandpaper and start using a 1 grit. I don't think I'm even gonna use a 3. I think I'm gonna use a 1. Because again, I was spending too much time on the strop and thought that you needed to, I was doing a lot more passes than Kyle was.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, like if I get to the point where I'm honing the knife, I don't feel much of a burr on either side. I mean, it's got to be so tiny that I can't feel it. Then I go to a strop. I'll go, you know, three, three, one, 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 a couple times, and then the finer you go from going just one foot back forth, one side, one side, one side, one side, the the finer that gets, and the tighter it can be. The problem is, the more time you spend stropping, the higher the likelihood that you are going to change your angle and or you are going to be putting pressure. And when
Damage
you
that apex.
correct, so get it on the hard substrate, the hone, to the point where it is as level as possible. And then when you go to your softer material, you're trying to polish it and you're not using any pressure, and it's only a couple pieces.
I'm ready to go try it, man. I mean, to me, that's eye opening. Terry, 1931 Leatherworks uses a 3 and a 0.1. It sounds like after he gets off.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there are reasons to have multiple, but not if you are just maintaining and or are doing basic working edges. I mean, if you're doing that, then you can get away with 1 or 2. And if you're doing 2, that would do something like a 3 and a 0.5, or a, you know 3 and a 1. I mean, you don't have to go crazy low, but again, it depends on how good you hone it, and then you can go from there. So
Right. And honing was a step I was skipping almost altogether. So that's been eye opening, Kyle. There's something on your notes about a video.
well,
Doing
I meant what we're doing today, showing like how I actually do it. That was the video portion.
Gotcha. I didn't know if there was something that we were going to reference. What's up, Lord Needham?
No, I just wanted to have everything kind of laid out in a systematic format where people could read through it and understand how the process works. And then if they had questions,
And
again,
guys, I will be posting that on the community tab. And what I was gonna say is throw some questions out there. And they can be sharpening questions if they're not just stropping questions. Anything
yeah,
that you guys have been wondering about or have a question about, Kyle is very resourceful. and has dug into the research.
Yeah, there's no such thing of a dumb question. So unless it's from Needham. Um, did I make sense to everybody, or did anyone get confused? We're just dropping people left and right. Looks like.
No, and I don't think I think you explained it really clearly, but I don't know if anybody was caught up on the angles because I mean, it made perfect sense to me to start low, and
Yep.
to me, I think I've gotten used to finding that angle because I think of it as just gliding where you can barely feel it on that on the strop. But again, I was stropping too much.
Right. The you the way to think of it is dropping is, like I said, taking that last little portion off and just doing it lightly and as few times as you absolutely have to.
Todd says, depending on what finish, he takes a knife to, if leaving it at 600, then he'll use a 9. If I go high, then usually 3 or 0.5, depending on finish grit.
Well, and see, that's the general principle rule of thumb, how it's been for years, but you're not making that 600 grit have as much bite or sharpness as it could.
If you just almost skip the 9 and 3 and spent more time on your hone.
Yeah, I mean, they call it, the hone is basically what we call deburring. So if you spend more time deburring and then went very, very few passes on a low grit micron or low micron, like a 3 or 1, it would actually increase the bite and get sharper.
Demonoc, I don't blame you. He's got one of mine right now. Demonoc said it all makes sense. I'm just sending my knives to Kyle.
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't do this and try to be like a Bogart and say everyone has to send their knives. I'm not going to share any information. No, I share everything. I mean, if you want to do it yourself, great. I mean, that's cool. That's how I learned how to do it. I mean, I taught myself, and in between that and watching stuff, but I have no qualms about people doing their own stuff or going to other people or whatever. I mean, as long as you're happy. What I offer is not just a sharpening, and I think we talked about this before. That I treat this as kind of a service-based option. So I'm providing a service, and my service is what sets me apart from next sharpener, along with the fact of my quality edges. So I treat it more like a business than just saying, "Hey, send me your knife, I'll sharpen it," and you don't have to have a choice in what you get. I mean, you're going to learn everything about what that knife's for, what you're going to, well, and just giving them information and treating it like I always call it treating like a concierge service, where you get to pick what you want exactly for that knife, and I walk you through it. If you don't understand it, I'll help you. That way, when you get your knife back, it is 100% what you need and what you want.
I think that's awesome. And I mean, I think because not everybody likes sharpening. I know that Lefty got a TS Prof, and I think he gave it to Backpack Bees just because he didn't feel comfortable sharpening. And at first, because I started with the Work Sharp, then I started with a Sharp Maker from Spyderco, then a Work Sharp, and then my TS Prof. And I've bunged up some budget knives because one thing that I still think I do wrong, you're sharpening only from heel to tip, right? You're not going back and forth.
So, like here, I would be, if I'm got the knife and the clamps here, I'll do it. So let's take anything. The stone's in here. I am sharpening heel to tip, but I'm not like taking off the stone and going back and just doing it one way. Yeah, so I go heel to tip and then back.
And then tip to heel.
I mean, it's the same motion, but yeah, I'm not just going here, taking it off, going back here.
Okay. Okay. Cool. That's you answered my question.
Yeah. So I'll go back and forth, but I always start at this point here, work up, back and forth, and then that's all how we blend it as well too. So,
And do you find you're spending more time at the tip, or am I doing something wrong? Because that seems like I have to spend more time at the heel and at the tip.
it depends on the grind. Honestly, it depends on. There's so many factors. It depends on the grind. But that's what we talked about previously. Is we're not chasing the burr all the time. You're chasing the grit pattern. So once you have your grit pattern all the way even across
Awesome,
heel
Lord.
and tip, then it goes what?
Oh, Lord said Lefty gave the test. Prop to him.
Oh, that's his second one. Then he gave his first one a backpack.
Yeah.
Um, but like so, there's an example. Like that's the Kevin thing. He doesn't like discussing or chatting. He just doesn't want to make a decision. He just here do it. And he didn't like. I mean, he liked what I did. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying he didn't like the service aspect of what I was doing nearly as much as other people have because he just like I would just want to say here, sharpen my knife and be done with it. How much?
He didn't want the knowledge that comes with it or the methodology to why you did what he wanted because he didn't know really what he wanted.
Correct. And a lot of times I'll still get that. People were like, well, it's just dealer's choice, and that's fine. And I'll pick the best thing for that knife, for that steel, and their use case and everything else. But I still like to make sure that they're happy and they get what they want. I mean, that's
Absolutely. So you've got flexibility in that service level. I mean, you're always going to give the same consistent level of service, but that's going to depend on what the client is looking for in terms of feedback and or
yeah okay. So, like example, someone sends me a CPM 154 steel knife, right? And they want a polished edge. Well, that edge doesn't do well polished, but I'm going to explain that to them. But if that's what they want and truly ask, say no, I don't care. That's what I want, or it's going to be a piece
showpiece.
of yeah. Then and yeah, I'll do it for them. But they have the disclaimer that it's not going to be performance based. So it's that's something that I think needs to be discussed with your clients, so that way they aren't expecting something that they're not getting.
Yeah. And like you say, even if that client is going to be a constant client for you and never sharpen a knife, it's still good information to have so that they can ask for specific things as they learn why you're doing things differently.
Well, my whole principle is when I get a client, it's I don't want it necessarily to be. It's not it should be a one time thing. It should be an ongoing relationship where we can create either a I get to the point where they know what I'm talking about and they want to expand and try it on themselves, or they don't want to deal with it and they just send me what they have.
Right.
And I've got some clients like that where they just here here's five knives or here's whatever, just do your thing and let me know. Really, I don't know why that mic is so bad. I mean, it's just my AirPods. I don't know why that.
Maybe it has something to do because it's not to me it's not bad, but you're lower and you come in and out a little more than you have before. Maybe it has something to do with the iPad because we were trying a different setup, guys, so Kyle could see um, in real time when without a delay. So it's the setup's a little bit different. Well, Todd Carr says, "Well, we know the mic on iPods suck for live stream."
Thanks,
I,
Todd.
I can hear you though. But
Yeah,
yes, we can upgrade Kyle. He deserves the best mic to be able to spew knowledge.
the problem is I'd get a like a wireless lav mic, but then I wouldn't be able to hear the feedback from you.
Yeah, you've got to have the mic or the headphones.
Right.
Well, dude, that's just really, really good information. I mean, I can tell my sharpening's come along just from the few conversations that we've had and you coming on here. And I hope people, I know it's not, if you don't sharpen, it might seem kind of like class, but I think of it just kind of as, uh, just kind of, if you're into knives, it's good to know, right? Even if you don't practice it, you don't sharpen yourself. It's good to know why and how and the methodology behind it. So Lord Needham says he wants his Rosie to cut things with the easy strop back, what do you recommend?
All right, here. Let me pull it up. Let me see it real quick.
It's up. Can you see it?
Yeah, okay. I want things easy strop back. So, well, what steel is it in, first of all? And what do you mean by easy strop back? If you mean just that it's not going to, that's dependent upon the steel. That's not necessarily dependent upon.
Is it crew wear, Lord Needham, or is it L Max? That was funny. Paul said, Lord Needham, I recommend give me your Rosie.
Nice.
Hey, Lord, is it crew wear? Is it L Max, or is it something else?
Todd, yeah, I just don't know how that works with StreamYard. I'll have to investigate that.
And Kyle, I mean, that's something you can do anytime, buddy, and I can be there with you, but you can get in and set up a private stream and you can tweak all that. Lord, dude, if I had it.
MagnaCut. Okay. So MagnaCut is, I mean, it's fairly responsive. I would say, I mean, again, so this is the process of how I work through it with Needham. If he was a client, I'd say, okay, first of all, what's it going to be used for? What are you cutting with it? Is it going to be a user? Is it going to be more of just an occasional user? And based on the thickness of behind the edge of that knife, you have options as far as how low you take it. Do you want a big bevel? Do you want a thin bevel? Keep it stock, keep it factory. Are you looking for toughness? Are you looking for sliciness? These are all different factors because MagnaCut can do pretty much anything as far as grit.
Based on what you want it to do, yeah.
Correct. So we need to figure out what's the use case for this knife. Say you want for EDC tasks, you're going to be cutting mail, you're going to be cutting light boxes, tape, that kind of stuff. I would say MagnaCut's great at that middle 600 to 1,000 grit. If you want it a little bit slicier than the factory, drop it down a couple degrees, take it to 19, 18, 19. You don't want to go much lower than that. You can with MagnaCut, it'll hold up, but with the Rosie, it'll start getting a little bit thicker bevel. So, yeah, so that's exactly what I was just discussing, Brian. So I would say say in that 600 to 1,000 grit range, keep it with 18 to 20 degrees and be done with it and not worry about it. And you should be good to go for a long time.
Sweet. And if you were going to maintain that knife, if you were going to use one compound, would you do something like a 0.1?
No. I mean, if I'm doing 600 to 1,000 grit, I mean, like I said, he's not going to be hard using it.
Right.
I would keep him at like either a 3 or a 1 and be done with it.
And he said 600 was his plan. Thanks, buddy.
Yep. Yeah, and then like I said, strop wise, take it to like a 3 or a 1 and you'd be good to go.
Just a few passes, Lord. And I'm going to put a PDF on. I'll go ahead and upload that now. Let's see if I can do it. Go over here and do that. And guys, we're getting ready to do a giveaway here shortly. Because if I'm not mistaken, said faction is 11:15, right?
Yes, they're another hour, a little bit less than an hour.
All right, we got plenty of time.
Yep. The one thing I didn't touch base on that I think I put it in the notes, but I didn't talk about it, is what a lot of people forget to just talk about is when you get ready to maintain your knife, whether it be stropping, whatever, get something, whether it's knife shield or it's rubbing alcohol or something that takes your gunk off your knife. Oh, you got tape residue. Clean that before you put it on your strop, because if you don't, you're just going to be picking up.
You're going to be contaminating your strop, right?
There's that, but you're also going to be picking up a lot of junk onto your blade from the strop because it's going to be sticky and have all that stuff on there. So you don't need to be wasting your emulsion by sticking it to your blade. So just spend the time, the 5 seconds, wiping it down before you start to do any maintenance.
Very good information.
Yeah. So wondering if you strop too often. I would say like especially with like MagnaCut. I mean, it's not going to be the longest edge retention, but it's solid. So it depends on how much you cut. Like, just touch it. So the thing I would say, touch it. I mean, if you feel like, I don't know if you can see it. If you feel when my fingertips touch that I've got it's snagging on the skin, then I'm good. If it's not, then you can strop it.
Because you mean biting into your skin, you can feel it
Correct.
starting to bite in.
Correct. Yeah. So if I
Got
were to press any harder, then I would take skin.
good insights.
All right, we got
Any more questions,
40,
guys?
yeah, 40 people. Any other thing else while I'm here? Besides the fact that my mic sucks.
Your mic doesn't suck too bad, dude. I can hear you. And guys, what I'm going to do, I just tried to go to YouTube and upload that. For some reason, it doesn't like PDF, so I'll have to make a image file of that for y'all. I can do that though. I've been buying less knives for Christmas. Hey, the knife enthusiast Super Bowl's coming soon. Sweet. Yeah, but it does sound good now.
It
Mark
does.
says, yes, yeah, Mark says yes, it sucks. So you're getting kind of mixed reviews there.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh Lord. So did you guys decide, since there are about 40 of you in here, if you want to do numbers game for the giveaway, which, just to go back over that, it is my 14C Mossy Oak fixed blade, which is a really slicey, pokey, pointy, kind of heavier use knife, but it's got a real thin grind. And then we've got some Joe Isabella goods that he donated to the channel for giveaways. We've got several handcrafted Joe Janks.
So, and I've got something to show off when you're done with that too.
I am got one more little paperweight.
Yep.
Oh,
Joe does great work.
he amazing work. All right, I'm gonna make you big. So y'all put a 1 if you want the random generator, a 2 if you want the numbers game. While Kyle shows you something.
So I finished that project knife. I put it back together after I got home.
Oh, your hinderer.
Yeah. So there's an Eclipse 3.5 and copper show side. I didn't get the screws switched out on this side yet, but I will. So I had the hardware. So I've got a mix. So I've got this side, I got black, and then these screws are going to be black as well
To
too.
match the pivot.
Right. And then this side, I had Cerakoted, and then using the copper for everything. Even I got a copper 2024 fill plug. I had to track that down.
Dude, that looks sick.
Yeah, that nice matte flat black.
And when you put the black, because that pivot pops so much, I mean, that's
Yeah.
going to be an awesome
Yeah,
knife.
when I get these, I got to find what fits those to get them out. Because I know it's an Allen, but I forget.
Here, hold on. It is a. Let me pull it out of here. It is, I believe, on the 3.5. I got to get my. Let me get my magnifying glass. I've got my Eclipse right here.
That's fine. And then, so the other key to, on top of all this, is it's a Satsu reground.
Dude, that is just gorgeous. Okay, this is
What did I do differently now, Todd? All I did differently was I took one earbud out because it was dying, so I put it in the charging case.
That might have been what it was, dude, because you sound totally. So this is weird. I know it's an Allen, but a T6 is what fits it. I've got my.
Well, so the thing is, a T6 fit the back ones. These are perfect with a T6. The front ones wouldn't fit a T6, and it started to spin, and I was afraid with being copper. So I'm like, I ain't gonna screw with that.
Well, I thought it was not. I thought it was 1/16th bit, but it's not going in. I'm thinking mine look like Torx bits, dude.
Yeah, I think it's a hex or I have to get out a set and check and see what I've got.
I know what I've got that I can check on, and then I'll pull up the random generator. But I'm going to
I've got one of those stupid tools to disassemble with.
Yeah.
And it has a little bit thing on there for it, but it doesn't fit these screws at all.
No, it doesn't. Hold on, I've got them right here. Here are my bits. I've got it in my little kit. All right. Okay. Dude, I think the Eclipse are different than my XM18, dude.
Very well could be.
Yeah, because this one.
Dear Terry, thank you. I will check that out. I got to see if I've got one.
It should be a T6 because this on my XM18, this 5/64 Allen fits it perfectly, goes in there tight as a drum. It does not even come close on my Eclipse. And I bought the extra, that blue anodized hardware.
Yeah, so that's got that little nub on there that's supposed to be to fit the screw, but that doesn't fit these at all.
No, it fits the XM18. I think, dude.
Oh, okay.
It's a T6.
It's a T6 on the back, but I'm telling you, on the front, it just I put it in once and tried it, and it started to spin. It clicked and started to spin. Tried on that one, same thing, and I'm done. Like I'm not going to mess with because being copper, they're so soft.
Right. Let me go to the show side. You're talking about the show side, right?
Correct.
Yeah. All right, that's weird. For some reason, my T6 fits both sides. And the XM18 does not have a bit on both sides. It's got a smooth side.
Yeah.
The show sides are smooth, but on my flipperless, it is an XM18. And what I use for my pivot, because I bought the Etsy tool, I didn't buy the Hinderer tool.
Same.
I watched a Metal Complex video, and I use a penny with a little of that painter's tape on it, and that works great. Now,
well, that little tool I showed you was the same one I got off Etsy for like $20 or something like that versus spending $75 for the real deal.
Yeah, I picked this one up, and then I picked up a Strider tool from Etsy too. Because that spanner bit, you really only have to do that the first time. I've never had to hold that back bit when I did my scale swaps or anything like that.
I didn't have to for disassembly, but I did for reassembly.
Oh, really?
It was real tight, and that possibly because of the rear scale being Cerakote, it might be just like an RCH thicker than it was before, so it might be a little bit tighter because the pivot was a little tougher to get into. So,
well, it makes sense that you've got a little more material there, right?
Right.
So we are going to put in. I'm coming up with a word. Let's go hashtag no cap. Can't lose there. I'm going to share the screen.
I'm on a Tanto kick lately.
Are you really?
Yeah,
I like a Tanto.
I love this
Hey,
one.
Autumn Wind. Y'all are all here. So we're getting ready to drop in the chat. Throw
That's
some
one of
B ups in there. Hashtag B up.
That's
Yeah, I
one
know
of my
you have
favorites.
4 bit in a hex bit screen, but it's not Todd. When I look at my Eclipse, it is different than my XM18. They are actually torques. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me make this big. This hashtag B up, kids.
Todd, that's exactly why I quit trying to turn those because I didn't want to mess them up.
So if you look at those are torques. And if you look at my XM18, there, and I've got them in backwards because I should have the smooth probably on the show side. But see how much bigger those are? And those are definitely X torques. I don't know why. But yeah, the copper is a different game, right? It's so soft. The one thing that I had on my little Warncliffe 3-inch XM18, I twisted one of the little barrel screws. I was putting the body screw in, it was loose.
Yeah.
And it twisted off. I mean, literally just came apart. So I reached out to Hinderer, and within 3 days, I had a replacement. Evidently, on these 3 inches, he says that happens from time to time. They use these Chicago bolts, I guess.
Yeah.
How many B ups we got in there? Let's see.
Hey, Kathleen, I didn't see you in here earlier.
22, and there are 33 of y'all in here. So y'all throw some B ups in there, and we will draw for the Joe Isabella Jank. It'll go out tomorrow, and I don't know if Terry Coor's in here. I don't think he is, but
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Yep. That's Terry. That's 1931.
The different is that?
Yeah,
Is that
that's Terry.
Okay? Your scales will go out tomorrow, buddy. He's got a different Instagram, and I'm terrible at that. Like Mersalt is something Sue or something on
Right.
on Instagram.
Yep.
Kathleen, that's great. I hope you found it entertaining and informative. I found it very informative and entertaining.
And let me ask too, for anyone who was watching and lurking, you don't have to like ask questions, but if you'd answer this for me, did the PDF format help at all to be able to follow along? Because if not, I don't need to put the effort in to make those if it doesn't help anyone. So any feedback would be appreciated.
Yeah, drop feedback, and you can leave a comment also on the community tab when I post it up there. Kathleen says, yes, it was helpful. I always like handouts. I always like to have something to refer back to. But I also know how much work they are to put together.
I don't mind doing it. It's just that I know if not many people liked it, then it wouldn't be worth it. But if people enjoyed it, then I have no problem doing it for them. So,
all right, we got 24 B ups in the chat, and we've got 37 in the house. I can't say anything correctly, dude. I'm so bad. I can't read. Where's the PDF, Lord? It is right here, and I'm going to, because I can email it to you. And if anybody wants to send me their email address, I can email it to them. But I was going to put it in the community tab as a image. But it would be better anybody that wants the PDF. If you just shoot me an email to JavonNiceflix@gmail.com and just in the subject write PDF, you don't have to write anything else. I'll attach it to it and reply to you. So I think I've got Lord Needham in my inbox. Let me see here. Go compose. Nope. I don't have it the way I thought I did. I do. I just have to look for it. And ain't nobody got time for that right now.
Todd, no, not really. I've occasionally had that issue, but not very often. I started buying
All right,
bits
Pitt
from
got in there. Mersal. Mersal. Why do I say salt? Is there not even a T? See, I'm dyslexic. I make
no, it
up
looks
words.
like salt, but it's not. Just call them Frenchie. Um, so with the bits, what I end up doing, Todd, is I buy from a company here that, that sells individually, so I can buy T6s, T8s, T7s, in whatever quantity I want. And I buy usually I buy Weira's or Philo bits. Um, to me, they're the best in the business. They're even nicer than Weehaws. Um, let me see if I can find that company. I can show you who I get them through. Yeah,
I
Medford.
order boxes of like 30 T8s from Amazon, the Wares or Weehas, or however you
Yeah,
pronounce it.
yeah.
Brian.needham615. Brian.needham.
Yeah, so this is the company I get them from. I get them from KC Tool. They carry a bunch of German tools like Nipex and Weira and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I usually get these. I try to, if I can, I get the Torch Plus because they'll actually stick in a little bit deeper, so they get a little bit better traction. And then there's the other one, the Philos Fellows. They work really well too. So I buy them as I need them. I mean, they're probably more expensive than buying them in bulk with the Weehaws, but I'll buy, 5 or 6 of each one at a time, and then if they start to wear out, I'll just replace them and get a few more. But
Lord Needham, it is on its way. Mike Yay, I'm applying to you right now. Here you go. You already emailed me, so it's coming to you right now too. And then I'm going to come in. I'm going to draw for this NAF. And it's called Stropping and Honing Presentation. It's attached.
Todd, I'm sorry, hit me up on IG and I'll send you that info. Sorry to interrupt you, Devon.
No, you didn't interrupt me, dude. Do I need to make somebody big? Is somebody not able to see something?
Todd was just asking about the bits and what I was telling him where I got them. Here we go, down here again. So, like, I've got the Weehaws and I've got, the multiples of these where they have all the different cases that you can grab and all that good stuff. But I get them from KC Tool. I'm not affiliated, don't have any. I just buy from there because they carry a bunch of German tools. And I get, like I said, if I can, I get the Torx Plus if they have them. Otherwise, I'll get Torx. And I get either the Weiras or the Philos Fellows. And
Terry says that Work Tough outperformed Weehaw by a mile in a stress test.
I'm not overly fond of Weehaws. They're don't get me wrong. Weehaws are better than like your average non-hardened bits that just will spin and strip immediately. But if you get a Torx Plus will actually sit a little deeper and get a little bit better grip. So I like those.
Ones have the hole in the little center?
No, that's the
security.
These have just like the fins on the outside are a little bit deeper, so they grip a little better. At least in my experience.
Send me a link. You don't have to do it anytime today, but if you remember, send me a link where you get your stuff so I can look at those.
Okay.
All right, guys, we've got right now. We have 29 signed up with the B up, and we got 41 in chat. So if you want in on the Joe Isabella Jank and the Mossy Oak fixed blade, we're getting ready to draw for it. It's a cool little knife. I don't need to make that big. Let me stop sharing. very pokey, very stabby Warncliffe. Let me get some paper. I have not sharpened it. It's still got the factory edge. 14C. Cool little knife. And then we've got some Killer Jank, handcrafted by the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Isabella. I don't know if you can see the two materials there. Micarta, wood, carbon fiber, and then a paperweight. So put a hashtag B up in there, kids, and win this knife.
Yeah, so these are the drivers I typically use. I use.
Let me make you big.
I like these little Weras.
Those are grippy.
They're super ergonomic. They're comfortable. They're not too expensive. I think these are like $12 to $14 a piece. I mean, they're not bad. I keep two of them. I keep one loaded. One's got one of the security collars. I keep one loaded with a T6, one loaded with a T8, and then I've got a T10 in this one that I keep. So that way I've got three of them loaded up, ready to go at all times. And then if I need to switch out something there, I mean, obviously they're easy enough to do, but I don't need a fancy spinning driver. These work perfectly well, and I think they're built better than some of those ones. So
yeah, I've got the Get Good screw, which is good for loose screws, but I always run into a stuck one, and I've got this little Weehaw stubby.
Yeah,
it's actually a Boker Weehaw combo because it came with bits in the butt, but this thing just gives you torque, which those that you had look like they've got good grip too. Where the Torx ones, even with good knurling, you cannot get a lot of torque on that compared to what you get on that. Yeah, but it looks like the grip has a lot of torque.
Yeah, well, they're really fat right there, so I mean, you can actually get fingers on them and really get some.
The CRKT is a great bit driver too. That's probably the best value. And I'll tell you another really good one. It's a good value. It's at CountyCom. Let me grab it real quick. And y'all put your B-ups in because I'm drawing when I get back.
That's what this is the CountyCom, this time one. This actually has one of those spinner things on it, but it doesn't really, not a big deal to me. I just got it because it was well made and inexpensive. Knife nut. These are made by Wera, Wera. You can actually probably get the number off there.
That's a CountyCom titanium bit driver. They're like $42.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what this is. This is the CountyCom as well.
Yeah, I've got one of those little round ones too. I love. I mean, I'll buy stupid shit, as you guys know, but I'll tell you what's good for my bug out bag. I'm a fan of Big Idea Design Company. I know a lot of people aren't, but this is the regular bit bar. They've come up with a bit bar XL.
Yeah.
But this thing, you pull this little out, it's got a detent. Got a detent ball right there. Got a detent ball right there. And I keep a T8 in it, but it's got a place here for a T6 and a T10 or two other bits. And it's got a magnet so you can either hold it like a screwdriver, which doesn't give you a lot of torque, or it's got a magnet. You can hold it like a T-wrench, or you can hold it like an L-wrench.
Right.
And it's so small when you close it back up, the detent locks it in. Listen.
Oh, yeah.
That's the detent that just locks it in, so it's not going anywhere. You don't hear the bits rattle, and it's just a tiny little titanium bar.
I don't know. Does Jeff watch your streams at all?
Jeff? No, no.
Okay.
He used to come on. He came on a couple of them early. He usually gigs or is dating his girlfriend on Friday nights.
Okay. Well, I was just going to show off this that came back today.
Let me make you big. I think that is awesome.
Yeah, that turned out great.
You can come back and watch it. I'll tell what's the timestamp. Hold on. We're at 2:50. All right.
So I'm gonna send him pictures anyways. But yeah, so that came out really, really good. That's the
Joey Roman, I forget what they call that. I never found that what the actual name is. I called it a micro dagger when I
yeah. I mean, it's a little guy, but it's a nice dagger. But yeah, so if you guys remember this, I don't know if I ever showed this on the stream. So this ended up, it needed it's gonna needs the edge still, but it came in and it had some wear on the back. So what I was gonna do is try to acid wash it for him because this is just a plain carbon steel, and it had what we thought was an acid wash. Well, ended up I tried acid washing, ended up not being acid wash. It was some sort of gun glue or paint or something because it started peeling off. And it gave it a cool battle worn look, but it wasn't up to what the owner liked. So what I ended up doing is I went and had my buddy, who's a master Cerakoter, he ended up completely cleaning it up and Cerakoting it all, and turned out really, really good. So it's gorgeous now.
oh, it just looks so stealthy.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. All right, kids, let's see how many people we got. And we got 31, 46 in the house. I'm about to draw for it, guys. So if you're in here and you've not put a B up in the chat, you've got about 30 seconds. And I'm watching a little clock beside me. You got 25 seconds. You've got 20 seconds. Good luck, everybody. You've got 15 seconds. Oh, Terrence got to be up in there. You've got 10 seconds. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everybody. Oop. Let me get my little book.
Good luck.
Let me get that.
Congrats, buddy.
Let me. You won, dude. I'm going to bang out an email for you right there. I'm going to write you in my book. And if you can email me tonight, you don't have to. No rush. But if you email me tonight, I'm sending out mail tomorrow. I'm sending out some scales, and I can get this sent out to you tomorrow. Let me get that. Congratulations, buddy. Shoot me an email with your mailing address, and I will get it out to you. Throw some stickers in there. Joe Isabella Jank. I'll even bonus you with a little pocket jank. This is the holidays. And congratulations, dude. And guys, we'll have more. I don't know if we probably won't have one tomorrow at the members live. I'm not sure yet, but I will be going live tomorrow for the members at 11. We usually do it from like 11 to 1. And then Tuesday is Christmas Eve. But I am going to be home and I'm going to do Insomniacs Live for anybody who is hanging out Christmas Eve. Don't feel like you have to come around, but I will be live Christmas Eve into Christmas morning. Probably won't go 6 hours, but you never know. Merry Christmas, Kathleen.
Yeah, Kathleen, Merry Christmas. And Javon, I wanted to say thank you for everyone who listens to me ramble about sharpening, and I appreciate you having me on. If I get too long-winded or if stuff bores you guys, then let me know, and I'll calm down and make it short and sweet. Just
everybody commented. I feel like, not everybody sharpens, right? So I'm sure it's not for everybody, but I find it fascinating. And I saw a ton of comments that people got a lot out of it. So thank you for taking the time, not to just to put into the PDF, but to share your knowledge, dude. I mean, that's huge.
I enjoy sharpening and I enjoy teaching as well too. That's one of my passions as far as being able to pass along information if I've gotten good at something.
Oh Lord, that sounds awesome. What is meteorite and Zerk pivot. So it's got an actual little piece of meteorite in the Zerk. Lord Needham's bougie. I love
Yes,
it. He takes good pictures too. But Kyle, man, you don't know how much I appreciate you being willing to come on, because again, most people that sharpen, you want to protect your business and your craft, and like you said, you share that willingly, and you go above and beyond, dude, and I appreciate it. And like I said, I think Jeff's going to be super pleased. If not, you just talk to me because he'll be fine. I know him. He's just different. That's my fault for putting him on you, but he's a good guy.
No, he seemed great to work with so far.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's just different. He's different. I will share a link to your IG. Awesome, dude. I follow you. I'm telling you, if you're not following Lord Needham on Instagram, guys, I'm about to drop his IG in here. He's one of my favorites. He has the hand dumps and he wears really nice, classy shoes. So there's that. He's well dressed, knife dude. Makes me feel like such a bum because I used to be a well dressed, employed, upper level manager guy. But this is Lord Needham. Go follow Lord. Guys, what we're going to do is we're going to say peace out so y'all can do like me and go relieve yourself before said faction. Tonight is on Mattis Factions channel. Let me drop that in there too. I got time to do that. Hold on.
Is Fed in here? Fed Harrison?
Yeah. For the Fed.
Is he in here? I was gonna show him something.
Mango. Welcome, buddy. Mango was at the honey bucket last night.
I missed it. I fell asleep early last night. I really wanted to be there, but
good to see you, Mango. So said faction is Mango. We were just saying that Stevie, who has the honey bucket, and Mattis Faction are going to go be live, where I just linked it on Mattis Faction's channel in about 10 minutes. So we're getting out of here. I'm glad you stopped by, and you go over to said faction. I'm going to put his channel up in case that link's not clickable. Hold on. So here is the link for Maddie. And guys, Kyle, you got anything to say before I log us out?
I just want to say thank you for having me, and I appreciate all the willing participants to listen. So if you got any questions, always feel free to reach out to me on Instagram private. If you're not comfortable asking questions here, I'll answer anything you got.
Dude, that's so strong that you're willing to do that. And I do appreciate you coming in, and you're welcome. We're going to do this every Friday if you've got it, because I think it's something we can all learn from. Yeah, no, Terrence, we're going over to another live stream. So we're going to go see said faction over on Mattis Faction's channel. It starts in 15 minutes. So grab you something to drink, some popcorn, and we will all be chatting over there. But guys, do me a favor and look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart and choose debate, not hate. Guys, I love each and every one of you. I will be live for members tomorrow at 11. Until then, peace.
Later.